Hello, people of the Earth. I am Eliza Ibarra Aligato, your reporter for the second lesson in Module 6. But before we begin, just to give you an idea of what we're gonna tackle today, we will have an activity. It is called Imagine.
You are Anna, a dedicated employee in a reputable company. Recently, your supervisor, Mr. Rodriguez, has been making inappropriate comments about your appearance and subjecting you to unwelcome advances at work. These actions are a clear violation of the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995 or RA 7877. What would you like to do? A. Decide to report the harassment to the company's Human Resources Department. B. Decide to confront Mr. Rodriguez directly and ask him to stop the inappropriate behavior. C. Decide to ignore the harassment and hope that it stops on its own. What is the best answer? The best answer would depend on your comfort level and the severity of the harassment. However, for the sake of promoting a safe and respectful work environment, reporting the harassment to Human Resources or Option 1 is generally recommended. This allows the company to address the issue appropriately and initiate an investigation in accordance with the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995 or RA 7877. Reporting ensures that the company takes the necessary steps to prevent and address workplace harassment, fostering a safer workplace for everyone. So, you decide to report the harassment to the company's Human Resources Department. You schedule a meeting with the HR representative to discuss the inappropriate behavior of Mr. Rodriguez and provide any relevant details or evidence. The HR department, following the procedures outlined in the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, launches an investigation into the matter. They assure you that the process will be confidential and that you will not face any retaliation for coming forward. As the investigation progresses, the company takes appropriate action against Mr. Rodriguez if he is found guilty of the harassment. This could involve disciplinary measures such as suspension or termination in accordance with the law. Simultaneously, you find the courage to address another challenging aspect of your life. You are experiencing domestic violence at home. In line with the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004 or RA 9262, the company provides you with the necessary support, ensuring that you are not discriminated against or penalized due to the situation. This includes offering flexible work hours or leave options to attend court hearings or seek medical assistance. The company's commitment to upholding the Magna Carta of Women or RA 9710 ensures that your rights are protected, creating a supportive environment that prioritizes your well-being. The combined efforts of these laws contribute to fostering a workplace that promotes equality, protects against harassment, and supports individuals facing challenges such as domestic violence. Okay, so after the activity, what are your overall thoughts and feelings about the scenario presented? In what ways did the company demonstrate its commitment to creating a safe and respectful workplace? What role do you think education and awareness play in fostering a respectful and inclusive workplace culture? Okay, so thank you for your wonderful answers. Okay, so before we proceed to the main topic, let me first introduce the learning objectives we are aiming for. At the end of the lesson, the learners should be able to first, evaluate key provisions of RA 9710, RA 9262, and RA 7877, assessing their impact on gender equality, violence prevention, and sexual harassment eradication. Cultivate awareness and empathy through reflective discussions on gender sensitivity, violence survivors, and creating a safe environment. Apply principles in practical settings by developing gender-sensitive policies, engaging in role-playing for violence prevention, and practicing documentation, reporting procedures for sexual harassment incidents. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, let's go.
Ensuring that women and children are well protected from any form of violence is an obligation of the state. In this regard, the Philippine government had enacted several laws and policies granting equal rights to women and protecting their rights, including their children, all forms of violence. Among these laws are as follows. First, we have Republic Act Number 9710, also known as the Magna Carta of Women, is a comprehensive women's rights law in the Philippines. Enacted on August 14, 2009, the law is designed to eliminate discrimination against women and promote gender equality in various aspects of the Philippine society. The Magna Carta of Women covers a wide range of issues including political, economic, cultural, and social spheres. Key provisions of RA 9710 include: first, anti-discrimination. The law prohibits discrimination against women in political, economic, cultural, and social life. It mandates the equal treatment of women and men in all sectors. Second, women's empowerment. The Magna Carta of Women aims to empower women by promoting their active participation in decision-making processes, particularly in government offices and other public institutions. Third, health and reproductive rights. The law emphasizes women's right to health and requires the government to ensure access to quality health care services, including reproductive health services. It supports family planning programs and comprehensive sex education. Fourth, violence against women. RA 9710 addresses violence against women, emphasizing the need for protection, prosecution, and support services for the victims. It aligns with other laws such as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2009 or RA 9262. Fifth, employment and labor rights. The law promotes equal opportunities for women in the workplace. It prohibits discrimination in employment-based gender and mandates equal pay for work of equal value. Sixth, education and training. It encourages the development of gender-responsive and gender-sensitive education and training programs to eliminate gender stereotypes and promote gender equality in education. 7. Media and information. The law calls for the portrayal of women in media and information as dignified and non-stereotypical, recognizing the role of media in shaping public perception. 8. Protection in armed conflict. It recognizes the impact of armed conflict on women and mandates protection for women in situations of armed conflict. This includes safeguards against gender-based violence during conflicts. The Magna Carta of Women is a significant piece of legislation aimed at addressing gender inequality and promoting the rights and welfare of women in the Philippines. It reflects the country's commitment to international agreements and conventions related to women's rights. Republic Act 9262, also known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004, is a Philippine law aimed at protecting women and their children from violence and abuse. The law recognizes the need to address the prevalence of violence against women and their children in the Philippines and aims to provide legal measures to prevent and respond to such acts. The key provisions of RA 9262 include: first, definition of violence against women and their children. The law defines various forms of violence, including physical violence, sexual violence, and psychological violence, and economic abuse. Second, protection orders provides for the issuance of protection orders to prevent further acts of violence. These orders may include temporary and permanent protection orders, restraining orders, or any other legal remedies available. Third, legal procedures and penalties. The law outlines the legal procedures for obtaining protection orders and prescribes penalties for violations. Perpetrators may be subject to imprisonment and/or fines depending on the severity of the offense. Fourth, law enforcement and barangay protection orders emphasizes the role of law enforcement agencies and barangays or local communities in enforcing the law. Barangay protection orders or BPOs may be issued by barangay officials to provide immediate protection to victims. Fifth, crisis centers and services. The law calls for the establishment of crisis centers and services to support victims of violence. These centers are intended to provide temporary shelter, counseling, and other forms of assistance. 6. Public awareness and education. Encourages public awareness programs and educational initiatives to prevent violence against women and their children. This includes information campaigns to inform the public about the law and its provisions. The enactment of RA 9262 reflects the Philippine government's commitment to addressing the issue of violence against women and their children, and providing legal mechanisms to protect victims and hold perpetrators accountable. Republic Act No. 7877, also known as the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, is a Philippine law that aims to prevent and address sexual harassment in the workplace, educational institutions, and training centers. The law recognizes that sexual harassment is a violation of the rights of individuals to work in a safe environment and to pursue education without being subjected to offensive or unwelcome sexual advances. Key provisions of RA 7877 include: first, definition of sexual harassment. The law defines sexual harassment as any unwanted sexual advance, request for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature when submission to such conduct is made a term or condition of employment, education, training, or participation in any program. Submission to or reject of such conduct is used as a basis for employment or academic decisions, or such conduct interferes with one's work or academic performance or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment. Second, liability of the employer, head of office, or head of the training program. Employers, head of offices, or heads of training programs are held liable for acts of sexual harassment committed by their employees, agents, or dependents in the workplace, educational institution, or training center. Third, complaint mechanism. The law provides for a procedure to address complaints of sexual harassment. It encourages the establishment of grievance mechanism within organizations to receive and address complaints promptly and effectively. Fourth, penalties. RA 7877 prescribes penalties for individuals found guilty of committing acts of sexual harassment. Penalties may include suspension or dismissal from employment or expulsion from an educational institution, depending on the severity of the offense. Fifth, education and training. The law emphasizes the importance of education and training programs to prevent sexual harassment. Employers and heads of institutions are encouraged to provide information and training to employees, students, and other stakeholders. RA 7877 is an important piece of legislation that seeks to create a safer and more respectful environment in workplaces and educational institutions by addressing and preventing sexual harassment. It underscores the commitment of the Philippine government to promoting the dignity and well-being of individuals in various settings. In summary, the triumvirate of Republic Act No. 9710, the Magna Carta of Women, Republic Act No. 9262, the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004, and the Republic Act No. 7877, or the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, represents a significant legislative framework aimed at advancing gender equality and safeguarding the rights of women in the Philippines. The Magna Carta of Women sets the stage by providing a comprehensive charter that addresses various facets of women's lives, ensuring equal opportunities, protection from discrimination, and recognition of their invaluable contributions. Building on this foundation, RA 9262 takes a resolute stance against violence directed at women and their children, offering a legal framework that not only defines and condemns various forms of abuse, but also establishes measures to provide immediate protection and support. Simultaneously, RA 7877 addresses the pervasive issue of sexual harassment, carving out safe spaces in workplaces, educational institutions, and training centers. By defining sexual harassment, imposing liabilities, and promoting education, this law stands as a bulwark against inappropriate conduct, fostering environments where individuals can thrive without fear of harassment. Together, these laws weave a tapestry of protection, empowerment, and equality for women in the Philippines. While each statute addre- while each statute addresses distinct challenges, collectively they signal the government's commitment to creating a society where women can live, work, and learn free from discrimination, violence, and harassment. As we reflect on the provisions of these laws, it becomes evident that their combined impact is a testament to the ongoing effort to build a nation that values and upholds the rights and dignities of all its citizens, regardless of gender.